from our team, shaken not stirred.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Houston, we have a problem.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies close.
I'm your number one fan.
And here we go.
What's up, moviegoers? Welcome, all film fans. Welcome to the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. I am Juan, your host, and I am joined here with Ed.
Hola, folks. What's up, bud?
How you doing?
Not too shabby yourself, man.
Not too bad, man. You know what? Like I said last week, it was a little bittersweet. We are saying our salute to A24, and we are moving on to the Friday the 13th franchise.
So, to A24, we said Vaya con Dios.
There you go. Man, this is kind of going to be a little different. We haven't really talked a true, really horror movie in a while.
Yeah.
True, we just got done talking about A Quiet Place Part 2 this past Monday, but what is it about this franchise that we're going to dig into? Are you kind of excited? Are you nervous? Are you do you not think it's a worthy franchise to dig 13 weeks into? And first off, how long has it been since you've seen some of these sequels? Or have you seen something? There's some you may not have seen.
There's a couple I know I haven't seen, for that matter. I've seen the predominance of them. Like, I think there's only two that I haven't seen. But it's it's been at least 3 years since I've seen it. 3 years since I've seen any of them, for that matter.
Really?
Yeah. So I'd say a little bit. Not really nervous about any of it, but interested just to see how the reception is, and then how everybody likes the continuance of the entire franchise and stuff like that.
So if this is the first time you're joining us on a bonus episode, this is an ad-free bonus show that we put out weekly every Thursday. They average from about 45 minutes to an hour. We just dig right into the movie, and this is going to be no different, man.
Kind of the only segments we really do is we did a vibes, basically A24 vibes. So we pretty much, for the past 7-8 weeks or something like that, we'd pick out a movie that we felt basically resembled A24 fashion. However, it was not A24. This one, we are doing a different segment, though.
This segment that we're going to do later on in the episode, every single Friday the 13th that we're going to do, we're just going to pretty much name off one favorite kill. It doesn't matter what it is, who even did it, or if it was done by Jason or somebody else, or
or one of the counselors,
or if
whatever.
it was done by an accident. So that's what we're going to do in this franchise. We're just going to name off our favorite kill. But not only are we reviewing the movie of each Friday the 13th, we're reviewing the actual Scream Factory box set, and we're going to dig into that a little bit later on as well. Each disc, 16 discs. Right now, currently, you can get it on ScreamFactory.com or Amazon for $159.98. 16 fabulous discs.
So, I mean, pretty much that goes down to $10 each movie.
It's not bad.
Or, well, about $20 each movie, but yeah.
13 movies and then 3 bonus discs.
Okay, so yeah.
So it's going to be pretty fun. I can't wait to dig into it. But let's find out where you guys can find us. If you guys have not joined us yet, you can find us on the Facebook page at facebook.com/The Cine-Men Movie Podcast, or you can find us on the Instagram, one word, Cine-Men Movie Podcast, or the Twitter is at Cine-Men405. And then, Ed, we also have a YouTube page. Tell them how can we find the YouTube page?
So far, so easy. Basically, that Facebook.com, the Cine-Men Movie Podcast page has a Learn More button at the top. That Learn More button actually transports you over to the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel, of course, has that subscribe button, the download or the notification button, and the comment and like and unlike button. Go ahead and let us know how you feel about any of the unboxings or the actual reviews we do. Let us know anything. We love the interaction. So yeah, hit us up.
And then I'm not sure if we should do it before, in the middle, or after we review Friday the 13th, but we will have a YouTube video of the whole Friday the 13th Scream Factory box set on the YouTube page.
Okay.
It only seems fit. And then, guys, in all of our social medias, just click the link tree that's in all of the bios on the Twitters, Instagram, and Facebook. And that's how you can find all of our streaming platforms. We're available on Spotify, Podbean, Anchor, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, wherever you listen to podcasts at. Find us, hit us up, and you can also find us on the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, hashtag PFPN. You can find us on their site as well, www.prescribedfilms.com. Find not only the Cine-Men Movie Podcast, but also all of the other great podcasts that they have available as well. All right, so let's dig into it. We are talking Friday the 13th, Part 1. It has a 6.4 rating on IMDb, 64% on Rotten Tomatoes, but the Google users are at 87%. With a budget of $550,000, this movie has grossed a little over $59 million at the box office, and it has a release date May 9th, 1980. It celebrated its 40th anniversary last year. So a group of camp counselors are stalked and murdered by an unknown assailant while trying to reopen a summer camp which was the site of a child's drowning and a grisly double murder years before. So you could almost say, like, I guess Jason drowned. He drowned Gilbert.
Wow. Okay.
Jason drowned.
Damn.
It
For
has
sure.
it has a cast of Betsy Palmer, Adrienne King, Janine Taylor, Robbie Morgan, Kevin Bacon, Harry Crosby. Yes, he is Ben Crosby's son. Laurie Bartum and Mark Nelson, and Peter Bauer plays Steve Christie.
Hold up. Did you say Kevin Bacon?
Kevin Bacon.
The Kevin Bacon. Not discount Kevin, but
Nope.
the Kevin
The
Bacon.
Kevin Bacon got his big break right here in Friday the 13th Part 1 as he plays Jack.
Nice.
And yeah. So let's dig into it, man.
I wonder, does he make it off screen intact or not?
He does not. He
Oh,
gets an
shit.
arrow in the throat.
The throats.
Unfortunately, if you guys have not seen this movie, I want to know what kind of rock you might have been hiding under. This is one of those movies that...
I mean, some don't like horror. You know.
True, but if you mention Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, this one is right there in the top 3.
Oh, easily.
Yeah, top
easily.
3.
I mean, Jason's one of the most iconic, film serial killers of all time.
But
one of the top 5 easily.
We are not talking about Jason today.
Wait.
We are talking...
Hold on.
The first one.
Yes.
Friday the 13th.
And if you've watched Scream, you know there's a fucking difference.
It's a trick question.
Exactly. But we'll get to that a little later, won't we?
Yeah, let's dig into it right now, man. First time that you have ever seen this movie, do you remember compared to your recent watch for the podcast?
I know it was with your ass. I know you introduced it to me when we were way too fucking young to be watching this shit. We were like, what, 10, 11 years old?
Yeah, we were pretty young.
Yeah.
Same here. I don't remember the first time that I've seen this movie, but I do remember having the VHS box set, 2 different DVD box sets, and now I have 2 different Blu-ray box sets.
Yep, and VHS was when you showed me it. I know it was.
And what's really, really crazy about this movie is for the longest time, this was my least favorite Friday the 13th movie.
Well, yeah.
Because when you're young, when you're like 10, 14 years old, not supposed to be watching this shit.
Not really.
You're attracted to the big guy in the hockey mask.
Yeah, like that's who you know, especially if you're one. Especially like if you're born after the 80s and all that, you know Jason as the iconic Friday the 13th, kind of like in Scream, she answers, "Oh, well, that's easy, Jason."
Yeah.
No, it's not, dumbass. Hold up.
So for the longest time, this was my least favorite movie, and it wasn't until I recently, probably the last 10 years, just started getting that love for movies, that film love. So to revisit this and to just think that a whole episode is going to be dedicated to just one single movie. And I know I'm kind of jumping off track, but that's what I'm excited about talking about these Friday the 13th movies
Yeah.
because I mean, we don't have to rush. We're not sitting here talking about 18 movies
Right.
in one episode. Each week is getting dedicating the whole movie. So I'm really excited to just not only talk about each part and to see which one, there might be some that are god awful, but then there's
There-
also going to be some that
yeah.
are like really, really lovable. And
Yeah.
there's going to be some guilty pleasure ones in there too. So
Fair.
with that being said, let's talk about the opening.
Yeah.
What did you think of the iconic two young counselors kind of making love, and boom, they get theirs 5 minutes into the movie?
I mean, nothing, intrigues teenagers into romance like, the Kumbaya song type shit, So, I mean, that just sets you off, ignites that spark in your ass. But no, I mean, it's kind of the old cliche that has always plagued horror films, especially the slasher ones. They've even carried it on to today's Halloween of recent years. It's just kind of that expected thing. That's all. So yeah, the opening, all of them sitting around the little inside fire, basically.
So
doing
what
their
did
thing.
what did you think? I mean, you get the first kill, you get the screen, the big screen
Pause and all
pause,
that.
Friday the 13th.
The glass broke.
We didn't really get to answer this, but your second watch, or I mean, however many times now, what did it feel like rewatching it for the episode?
I'd say this is like fifth or sixth watch overall. I'd say. I mean, honestly, it's still a little strange without having the iconic person being the killer. But I mean, then again, this is kind of in a way, legendary because she only, this killer only appears for one film, truthfully. So it's different, but at the same time, it's kind of that little. It didn't get drawn out to where she was boring or to where it was just like, oh my god, here we go again. How many iterations of this?
What about
bastard?
the view of the film though? Like, did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
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 Well,
that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't get overused or anything like that. It doesn't get to where like you go to, I don't know, Jason Takes New York, and it's like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Oh, it's coming.
No, yeah. But it's kind of just like, I enjoy some of that movie, but at the same time, it's like, dude, why the fuck are we still going on, 8? So, yeah.
What did you think of? I mean, you don't really get introduced to Mrs. Voorhees until like an hour and 15 minutes into the movie.
Well, I think she makes a small appearance at one point, but it covers her face with like leaves and all that.
Yeah, you're
yeah.
throughout the whole movie, you think it's gonna be like a dude.
Yeah, honestly,
even the
even because doesn't the one guy that went into town, I forget his fucking
Ralph.
name, yeah, have the same Jeep, like literally the same fucking Jeep, basically. It's green, same wheels and all that shit.
Oh, not Ralph. You're
No,
talking about Christie.
Yes,
Steve Christie. Yeah, he's got the same Jeep.
and I'm just like, okay, and that will get people right there automatically, especially once she drags Nick. Shit. God damn it! How do I forget names this easily?
So in every franchise, you have that one person that, like, hey, you're the very first actor to get the very first kill in that franchise.
Barry.
So in this movie, Annie, played by Robbie Morgan, is the first, besides the two camp counselors at the beginning, is really technically the first one who gets knocked in this movie, and she gets her throat slashed. What did you think? That's one thing I want to bring up. I know it's 1980 and only had like a $500,000 budget, but what did you think of the practical effects?
I mean, honestly, like,
Did they annoy you with how cheesy they were or how noticeable they were?
not really. I mean,
I looked past it.
some of them, yes. Such as the one dude who got nailed to the fucking door with the arrows and all that shit.
Oh, played by Bing Crosby's son,
Yeah, I mean,
Harry Crosby, Bill.
yeah, Bill, like that a little bit, but not really. I mean, honestly, it's easy to look past, especially kind of probably for the budget and stuff like that, as well as like with with the neck slash in the woods, the neck changed color quite hard. So I mean that was another one, and then
It's the same thing with Kevin Bacon's death.
yeah, well I heard that the prop that they had messed up, so he had to literally blow the blood out. Himself, the prop master had to blow the blood out by
Oh yeah.
air of his own. So yeah, I thought that was kind of funny to be honest.
What about the cast? What did you think? Even though every horror movie is like, or at least some of these Friday the 13th, some of the cast is like unbearable. But I thought that this first cast for this movie was actually pretty fun. You had a young Kevin Bacon, like I said. You had a Harry
Yeah.
Crosby, and then Adrienne King is somebody who like is probably not talked about like she should be. She's like she plays Alice. She is the one who survives
Yeah,
Mrs. Voorhees at the end.
she's the one who kills her too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the one who chops the head off.
What did you think of that scene? Chopping old Mrs. Voorhees' head off.
A little bit of a kind of. That's the only thing I was annoyed at is that scene because it seemed like Miss Voorhees was ultimately powerful throughout the entire film, and at that last one, she succumbs to her, and it's just like, were you tired or something? Like, the fuck happened? Like, you were able to pin a fucking.
Well, let's take a look at that though. Everybody, all the kills in this movie that Mrs. Voorhees did. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they're done with everybody's back to her.
Pretty much.
So, this is the first kill where this is the first attempt where she technically doesn't have anybody, when she goes to Alice is facing her one-on-one, and she sees her coming at full sight.
With, I think, the exception of Bill, because you don't, like, fully get to see, because, like,
but you see that there's arrows in him, so she could have just shot him again with him not paying attention.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing. Like, did you fucking like?
He probably didn't see her coming.
Him? Well, my thing on him is, did you shoot him to the door and then slit his throat?
Because the guy who played Ned also got arrows to him, and he didn't see her coming either.
Right, that's true. That's true. But it's just, yeah, it was some of it. Like, that one was probably the worst in my opinion. Kind of just like, did you slit his throat and then shoot him up on the door? Did you shoot him up on the door then slit his throat for some weird ass reason? Like,
she's a psycho. Maybe she shot him and he was still kind of living, and she was like, "I'm gonna do away with you," slit the throat.
Yeah, that's the only one I was kind of like, the fuck.
What did you think of the guy Walt Gorney who plays Crazy Ralph? You see him throughout a few scenes in this movie, and he's just like, he's the what does he call himself? The defender of God.
Yeah.
I'm here to warn you, leave or you're all doomed.
Which, I mean, I love how the truckers just like no, don't, kind of worry about him. He's a crazy old loon. And then
the trucker does the same thing.
Halfway through, it's just like he's telling her the exact same shit. Like, why the fuck did you lead her on then, man? Like, you could have told her that at the beginning and she would have been good. But no. But, I mean, I thought he was funny. It was weird as shit for him to just, be in the fucking, like, pantry and shit like that. And then them padding the fucking runtime with the bicycle scene, him just going off. Just, like, for 20 extra seconds of him just riding a bicycle for no reason.
So this is kind of weird. I know that, like, Steve Miner is the big, like, head behind Friday the 13th franchise. If you don't know who Steve Miner is, he's also produced some Scream films and Halloween H2O. I think he directed Halloween H2O. I'm not sure. But the director of this movie is
Sean S. Cunningham.
Yeah, Sean S. Cunningham, and he literally went on to do nothing after this. He directed Friday the 13th in 1980. Probably A Stranger is Watching is his next big movie in 1982. And then after that, he really did nothing. New Kids, Deep Star 6. But I found kind of weird because usually if you direct something that is like one of the first, you think of Halloween, you think of John Carpenter, Nightmare on Elm Street, you think of Wes Craven, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you think of Tobe Hooper.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th doesn't really have that with this movie.
No, I mean honestly, the overall series, most people think of Kane Hodder, who plays Jason later on in a couple of films, like 2 or 3, I think.
Yeah, he plays him,
But
I think, from 9 or 8.
I think 8 to like what?
Jason X.
Yeah.
Because he's not the Jason in Freddy versus Jason.
No, it's like
Somebody else.
Ken Kreisinger or something like that.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked that you know that, actually. No.
I actually went and I don't know why, but I just get curious about different weird things. And I was actually comparing, went onto a video and found out that one was comparing how short and how tall Jasons all were throughout the entire series. And the shortest Jason, of course, is the one that jumped out of the lake at the end of the final scene of this movie, Friday Part 1. And it is 4'11", because he's like pretty much teenage or younger. And
Yeah, let's talk about him. Ari Lemon
yes,
plays Jason, and he really only has 2 or 3 scenes. So Jason technically is in this movie. You see a small glimpse of him drowning in the middle of the lake while she's explaining his backstory. She being Betsy Palmer, Mrs. Voorhees, and then you see him. Spoiler alert! We'll talk about it a little bit later on. But continue.
And then the biggest iteration was 6'5" in a couple of the last few Jason films, for that matter. Because literally, like when we first see him, the killer Jason on screen, 5'11".
Part 2.
5'11". Yeah, Part 2. He was 5'11" with the burlap sack on. So yeah. But past that, he went from like 6 foot to 6'5" in about 6-7 different movies.
So in a few of these movies, you do see you see teens being teens when a group of them are like hanging out by the lake, and then one of them pretends that they're drowning just so they can kiss the girl who's trying to save his life. What did you think is like some of those smaller scenes like this? I enjoyed some of the scenes that aren't straight horror, or I felt like the cast had a really good chemistry together.
They seem like they actually got to
Maybe hung
hang
out,
out for a bit, yeah. Which I mean, if the director was smart, put him in Camp Crystal Lake, the set,
Right.
Let them have a week or two together. So,
Are you kind of surprised? And we'll talk about him for a little bit because I literally don't know when we'll talk about him again. Kevin Bacon. A lot of actors who get their start in horror movies, they tend to always go back and do one more movie.
Yeah.
In the franchise.
Right.
Kevin Bacon is one of those he kind of got famous. Do you think he maybe got
too
famous and he's like, no, I'm too good for that now? I mean, he did do other horror movies like Stir of Echoes,
Hollow Man.
Hollow Man. He's done stuff like that before, but he never went back and did another Friday the 13th movie.
I think it's mainly because he was like, no, y'all killed my character off, so I feel like that should be my end right there.
Well, they killed off Nancy in Nightmare 3, and she came back to the franchise,
Very true, very true. But I mean, maybe that's what because I mean, I don't really think that, I don't know. I don't really think that he thinks he's too good or too famous or whatever, but at the same time, like, I'd kind of be like, hey, y'all killed off my character. Let's keep it like that. It's good, man. I like that, and I want that to be that.
Even his last movie that he just did came out last year. You Should Have Left as a 2020 horror movie.
Yeah.
He's been in some smaller roles with like Patriots Day. He's done The Darkness, R.I.P.D.
He was
Black Mass, Crazy Stupid Love. He was the main villain in X-Men First Class. That was kind of like I thought it was going to be the resurgence of his career. I'm kind of going backwards too. He was in Frost Nixon in 2008, The Air I Breathe in 2007, Mystic River in 2003, Hollow Man in 2000, which I think Hollow Man and Stir of Echoes might be some movies that we might have to talk about soon with Kevin Bacon. He was in Wild Things, Sleepers in 96, Apollo 13, The River Wild, A Few Good Men, JFK. So he's been in a bunch of like just Oscar nominated films. Tremors.
Yep, Tremors. That one was pretty cool with him. I thought.
We talked about this last year. He was in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles as the guy that was trying to fight Steve Martin for the taxi.
Yep.
And then probably his biggest role, I'm going to say, you can argue with me if you want, is going to be, I think it's going to be Footloose
Yeah,
from 1984.
very arguably, because I mean,
Um,
honestly, you've got several different people who have gone ahead and like gotten used to Kevin Bacon and then been introduced on different places. Because the first one I can remember him in was Hollow Man. But I mean,
And then he was
yeah,
it looks like his very first big role was he plays Chip in Animal House.
damn, okay,
And
that's
then in
crazy.
that 1978 and then 1980 he's in Friday the 13th.
That's crazy as hell. That's awesome. But I mean, yeah, Footloose is definitely, arguably, his probably most legendary / iconic film, and probably what he's most known for easily. Because I mean, you can mention Hollow Man, and people are going to be like, okay, what the fuck is that? But you mention Footloose, most people are going to be like, oh yeah, Kevin Bacon,
Yeah.
or something like that. So I mean, if you mention Friday the 13th Part One, yeah, Kevin Bacon was in that. Not many people are going to say that because they're just going to be like, the real Kevin Bacon? The fuck?
Or you'll be like
You know.
Friday the 13th. Oh, that Jason movie. Like that's it. They already got it fucked up right there.
Like, yes, but no, but not really. Kinda, I guess.
Um, with this original film, with the kills going on, and you finally find out that it's Betsy Palmer, aka Mrs. Voorhees. There's a creepiness feeling to her.
Yeah.
I don't want to compare it to Psycho.
I would agree with that though. I mean, honestly, I would, for that matter, because I think some of this was taken from that
Oh, a lot.
as an inspiration for that matter. But I mean,
But it's almost reversed.
yeah,
This one you think it's a guy, but it turns out to be the mom, and she's the one talking to herself, saying, kill her, mommy. But in Psycho, it's almost like you think that it possibly is the mom,
yeah,
but it turns out it's just Norman Bates, and
Being
that's
a
a whole other conversation.
fucking weirdo.
Maybe for our 3-year anniversary.
That'd be cool. We'll see. We'll see.
So yeah, I think that it's just truly a twist, and I think I think this movie gets lost in translation. And I think I think this movie truly is, and it's really hard to say that it's underrated, but I think it's an underrated horror movie.
I mean, honestly, it's somewhat forgotten because Jason isn't the killer.
Yeah, I think so many people want that Jason Voorhees to be the killer, that so many people take Betsy Palmer's performance at the end of the movie a little, for granted.
Yeah.
And I think people take this movie for granted.
Yeah.
It's just one of those. It's to me, it's just an iconic first film.
Because I mean, don't get me wrong. Who knew? Like, part of me wonders what their first thoughts about the movie was. What the first thoughts about, would this be a franchise? Were they just going to do one shoot off, kind of like, with,
Well, I can already tell you that they weren't, because not even 12 months later, the sequel came out.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Kind of like, is it like Halloween, to where Michael Myers became such a big part of it that they're like, okay, yeah, let's base it around this Halloween, not the babysitter murders or whatever.
Well, the good thing about the new Scream Factory box set is each disc has over an hour of bonus features.
Yeah.
And if you want to dig into the Scream Factory box set bonus features, it lets you know all the way back to what the movie was originally going to be called. And I think it was going to be called, and the original name that they were going to call it was going to be A Long Night at Camp Blood.
Oh, okay. That's why everybody calls it Camp Blood. Okay, yeah.
So thank God they changed that. But no, I think they knew what they wanted to do. I know they wanted a franchise. I just think that they went about it the good way of introducing the mom first and then having Jason take over. Because it just leaves you wanting more going into parts 2, 3, and however many else they wanted to do. And yeah, this one only had a $550,000 budget, and then to gross almost $60,000 years later, and then last year, I know it sucks that it was COVID, but last year was the 40th anniversary of this first movie, and the good thing I like about Scream Factory is they release all these special features, and they released it on the 40th anniversary. So the one thing that I want to get into, the one thing I want to get into is last year when a lot of people were still hiding in their bunkers with COVID
Yeah.
was when this came out and they did their 40th anniversary. Some places were doing like on campsites, uh, the big drive-in movie screen, and people were just like kind of chilling in the lake. So keeping your social distance. Keeping your social distance, but it would have been a lot nicer to have this be on a bigger, grander scale at some big movie theaters.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, honestly, it might even be cool to go ahead and re-release this for a new generation on the big screen. I think that'd be a cool little, like, a week or 2 week thing. But like just to release it for maybe a week or two might be a cool thing. Just fuck it, because I mean, probably wouldn't make a ton of money, but like some of the loyalists and all that, and some of the people who are like, oh, I know Friday the 13th, and then like, no, the fuck you don't.
I know this isn't an ad-free show, but Rodeo Cinema is another one of those theaters though that last year they showed a few of the older Friday the 13th movies. So some theaters are still showing some of these movies. But let's get back into the actual movie itself. Ed, if you had to pick one of these kills in this movie to be your favorite kill, which one would you name?
Um, it was between two. It was between Kevin Bacon's death and basically, well, Miss Voorhees' death as well. I'd have to pick the death of Miss Voorhees. Straight up decapitation. Probably the most gruesome one out of the entire thing. Because this franchise is more known for the gruesome type kills, and this one was really, really, really light. And I guess maybe you can consider that the difference between mother and son. One wants to be a bit cleaner than the other. The son doesn't give a shit. So, she doesn't want to get her hair dirty too much. At least he doesn't.
That's true. A lot of her kills in this movie were like quick throat slashes, or staying away and doing the arrows, or
gut jab.
Yeah.
With a knife or something like that. But yeah, just some small, clean, kills easily. I mean, I think the most gruesome she got up to was probably the axe in the head, or
that was a good special effects too.
Yeah.
And that was Kevin Bacon's girlfriend in the movie Marcy, I believe.
Yes.
Played by Janie Taylor. She got it pretty good, and I really enjoyed that kill scene. Like, she's in the bathroom and she hears noises. She thinks it's is it Jack?
Yeah.
She thinks it's Jack, Kevin Bacon, and then boom, she the axe goes straight into her face, and she closes her eyes and screams.
Yeah.
But
instead of trying to defend herself at all.
But we're gonna find some of that. I mean, I'm not gonna pick or nitpick on any of those scenes too much, because I mean, those are just your iconic slasher dumb teens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I mean, don't get me wrong, let alone they're so hormonally charged, they don't even see the dead friend up above on the bunk before up on top of them until basically she goes and uses the bathroom. And blood starts dripping on Kevin Bacon's head, and he's just like, the fuck? And all of a sudden, the hand comes out, pins him to the bed. And
I probably will say, since you're going to go with Mrs. Voorhees, I'll say Kevin Bacon's death is probably my favorite.
I was about to say, it was hard to choose between those, but I'm going to go with the slightly more gruesome death.
I think that's a very good scene of, his shocked face. She grabs him by the forehead and just, twists. I like how the arrow twists as she's pushing it up.
Well, I mean, you got to think. Okay, she's got some strength in her old ass.
You have to, yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. She's got him pinned down by the forehead, and okay, shock, I get that. So he's like, "What the hell's going on?" And then, on top of that, she's taking an arrow and shoving it not only through a mattress but through a whole person. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Did she just hide under the bed the entire time they were doing things? Like,
hey,
the fuck?
Who knows? Maybe she was getting her own little sex education in.
Oh, I bet she had enough sex education.
She probably. What counselor was she? She said she worked there.
The cook.
Was she a cook?
She said the cook, because but I'm going, aren't you just like right there? Okay, I understand the camp counselors are supposed to keep track of the kids and all that shit, but aren't you kind of just like,
she's just as at fault,
right? Because
you need to keep track of little Miho.
The little fucker. But I mean, didn't you hear, like, didn't she say she heard his screams, basically?
Yeah.
Like, why didn't you fucking go trying to save his ass?
She's trying to get that disability.
Bastards. Fucking A, man. Well,
She's trying to get that. She's trying to get that insurance policy.
Yeah, she got insurance.
Now
for
she's
sure,
like,
I guess.
This is the uncut version. This is where he's found out that he survived the lake drownings, and she didn't get all the insurance money. So now she's got to go out and wreak havoc on everybody.
She's pissed off. Fuck you! You did this to my boy.
You were supposed to drown, dude.
But I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, she blames it on all the counselors, and my thing is this entire time, she waits for Jason's birthday.
Could have drowned. Could have drowned.
And that was Jason. That's exactly what Jason sounded like, probably, when he survived.
I
Mom, I could have drowned, dude.
I don't know how much of an asshole you are or not, but damn.
Hey, that shows you some great acting skills by Leonardo DiCaprio, right there.
Even at a young age.
But no, Jason did not get to drowned, and I think it's a funny thing. You said like you were about to mention on my son's birthday, I'm gonna go just hack up a bunch of people.
Yeah, but I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, why did she wait an entire
year?
The whole year for him to fix up the fucking place? I should have.
Or did he drown in the 50s?
Yeah, like 57, I think they said.
So what? 13 years later, something like that. Now
57, and then like 58, I think there was a few deaths by fire or something like that, is what is said. And then you wait years later, and then you wait an entire year for this bastard to fix this camp up to open the shit.
Well, the only thing
then you kill a bunch of counselors on your son's birthday like a jackass.
The only thing I didn't get was, spoiler alert, Betsy Palmer dies, Ms. Voorhees dies, she gets her head chopped off, and then you see the survivor, what's her name? Alice. So she survives and she's floating in the boat at the end.
Yep.
And she, puts her hand up to get the cops' attention or whatever, or she just wakes up and Jason grabs her from behind and pulls her down. So the only thing that I didn't really get or like was, and I know that I'm probably reading way too much into this.
Yeah.
He's like 14 at the end of that movie.
Yeah.
Part 2 takes place a year later, and he's like in his 20s already.
Like, fucking grown. But I mean, not only that, but he's fucking a foot taller.
But what did you think of the ending, though? The original ending was supposed to be where the head gets chopped off, and that's the end.
Right.
So then they added Jason drags her under. That was supposed to be the original ending. And then they added...
It was basically a nightmare.
Yeah, and she woke up in the hospital. So that is your original ending. What ending do you like the best out of the 3, and which one would you have chose and cut the other 2? Well, I mean, one you can't cut, the heading of her.
I know, right?
So you can't cut that. But would you have just ended it there, or would you have ended it with Jason dragging her under, or just the dream sequence like in the original?
Dragging her under, to be honest, because then basically
you're on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, and then it makes people want to come back. Like, who the fuck was that?
Yeah.
What was that? The son? What are they gonna do with him now? Kind of thing. Instead of like, oh, okay, it's just a dream that she woke up in, and she had a nightmare about that, and was envisioning some decrepit-looking kid that just jumped out and fucked her up, and yeah, it's good. Like, to me, that's the conclusion and all that. Where with him coming out of the water, basically like fucking like Free Willy, and grabbing her ass under.
Great fucking comparison.
I know, right?
When you comparing Free Willy to fucking Jason Voorhees.
I mean, hey, got to.
Unbelievable. I think that might be the comparison of the year.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I love me some Free Willy.
Same.
Yeah.
Especially when he jumped over the rocks to get into the ocean. That was perfect.
My favorite part of Free Willy, is the Michael Jackson music video.
Oh my god! Yeah. No. I bet it was, especially as a kid. But basically, you go and I think that would have been a better ending, just because that would have left more, kind of like you said, the cliffhanger, and on top of that, that would have been, kind of in the back of people's heads, like, dude, I need to go see the second one, or I wonder if they're making a second one, kind of thing. So
you wouldn't have liked the just her getting her head chopped off and ends right there.
That wouldn't have been bad either. Don't get me wrong.
I really don't like. I mean, I really don't enjoy the dream sequence of her waking up in the hospital bed. Like I said, because we're gonna get into it next week and the week after. But with these part 2s, 3s, and 4s, the first 10 minutes they show you the ending of the previous film.
Yeah.
Like if you're if it was a TV show.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get into that next week, but
Well,
that's how part 2 starts off.
Well, I mean, you got to think Halloween 2 did somewhat similar shit. The first couple minutes was basically a recap of what happened to Michael before. And
Do you like stuff like that?
I don't mind it, but I mean, it's just like.
Do you think it's kind of a lost cause now because of the internet and because of everything's such on video on demand? Do you miss stuff like that where, hey, part 2 just you get the first 3 minutes of the first one and then it leads into part 2?
I don't mind it personally.
Do you miss it? Like, would you want to see that come back, or do you like, no, I think we're good now?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing it come back. I mean, honestly, because most of the time today, I mean, you don't have any more iconic killers like that. I mean, Scream kind of, sort of, because that's coming back with a new one early next year,
January.
So I mean, there's that. But I mean, other than that, like,
but that's just
like the reiterations of Friday or Halloween or with the exception of the newest one, and then Freddy or Nightmare. Not a lot of people have been in love with them like the old. And I mean, don't wrong,
if you had to do something now, I would probably say just the mythical creature of Jigsaw.
Yeah, that's a newer one. That's true. That's very
that just
very true.
Continues, and it doesn't have to be one singular person anymore. Anybody can really be Jigsaw.
Because I mean, the puppet is the puppet for that matter.
Well, it's not even. That's just a name.
Well, I'm just saying, like, that's kind of like a Chucky thing, but it's just an inanimate doll. So I mean, yeah. Instead of just a fucking weird guy that knew a little bit of witchery.
But that's the thing. I kind of. And there's been rumors about them rehashing and doing a new Friday the 13th.
And I mean, don't wrong with seeing a new Legacy. How do you feel about that?
What do you mean? Oh, because it's supposed to be LeBron James movie. Production.
And I mean, maybe it'll be a lot better because he's just a producer instead of an actor.
Yeah, it's just got his name on it.
So I mean,
and he's putting up the money for the production. But I look at it like this way. If he's the only one wanting to put money up for a Friday the 13th movie, how good can it possibly really be?
It depends on his mindset. If he's
now if Warner Brothers takes over, because he's in affiliation with Warner Brothers.
Right.
If they do it right, I think it could be good.
Yeah, it could be great. But I mean, don't wrong. Like, if he's a dumbass and he just goes ahead and I'm putting money into it, so I'm writing, I'm doing this and all that. Shut the fuck up. Sit the fuck down. Sit the fuck down. If he
I didn't hear you, Ed.
Sit the fuck down. If he does it in the right pieces, or at least gets some other people who have horror backgrounds.
Well, first off, he can't even direct. He can't even direct on the court, and he can't even.
Shit!
He can't even really produce. So we're gonna keep his ass out of. If he writes or directs anything, I'm definitely not gonna see it. If I would have saw anything about LeBron James writing Space Jam, I probably wouldn't even have sat through the 2 hours that I did.
Oof.
I'm not upset that it was a trash movie. I'm more upset about the time that I spent on it. So, but that's a whole other conversation. If that's really the case that it's LeBron James going to produce it, and I don't know. Hopefully he would. I would like to see maybe, if he wants to put his name on the producing, that's fine. But go out and find somebody like maybe Jordan Peele to write or direct the Friday the 13th movie.
That could be very, very good.
Something like that, but
that could be very, very good. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You've got to find your good pieces, your right pieces for that matter. And I mean, like, you could find the director of old horror and the writer of new horror, and kind of combine them and go from there. Because then you get kind of good.
I don't even like to do that anymore. I think I think good horror nowadays is when somebody has a creativity bone that they want to scratch and they haven't yet tested those waters.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Somebody who's not used to directing horror, but like
Jordan Peele and
like Danny McBride and
the
guys that did the new Halloween movie. They weren't used to doing anything horror, but they had that scratch. They wanted to itch it, and they itched it pretty fucking good.
I was about to say it went over so far so good. So I mean, yeah. we'll see how the Halloween Kills goes.
Friday the 13th,
Yeah.
1980, $60 million at the box office.
Not bad.
Ed, favorite scenes from this movie? While you think, I'm going to name off. I was excited to name off mine. The Kevin Bacon kill is, to me, a very, very good scene. Like I said earlier, I enjoyed the scene where the guy, Ned, fakes that he's drowning and he gets the little CPR kiss action. For some odd, strange reason, I enjoyed the scenes with Crazy Ralph. It just made it feel like, you know what? I know it's a slasher movie, but this makes it feel a little bit more demonistic. Like somebody is sent from above to warn these fucking kids. I looked at it that way. It kind of made me feel a little creepy. I like that feeling.
I can go along with that. I like that. Yeah.
And then I enjoyed, everything after an hour and 15 minutes where Mrs. Voorhees gets introduced, the way she's acting, the way she's portrayed as a psycho, even wearing like a long weird, sweater.
Yeah.
She feels like a Bates character, and I just loved the last 20 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
What about you? You have any other favorite scenes?
I'd say kind of when she's explaining the story of Jason and all that, y'all didn't wash my kid and blah 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 blah. He drowned and all this and all that. I'd say that, along with some, and I'll honestly agree with you. Some of the Ralph iterations, whenever the Crazy Ralph fucker was on screen, kind of was interesting. So yeah, I've got to say those two were probably my favorite for that matter. Yeah.
All right. Again, if you guys want anything to do with these episodes, send us in some emails. CINEMEN921 at gmail.com. Send us your star rating. Send us some of your favorite scenes. Just let us know what you think of the original Friday the 13th, and we'll share it on Monday's episode when we talk the new Suicide Squad, which hits HBO Max today. So as you're listening to this, it hit HBO Max. I can't wait to rewatch it. I think it's going to be a fun episode. I think it's going to be a fun movie. Star rating, Friday 13th, part 1.
I'm gonna go ahead and go with 6. Really like it. It's not gonna be an every year thing for me, but it's definitely gonna be a kind of every now and then thing. I kind of degraded a bit just because all the cheesiness and all the kind of cliches, basically. But other than that, yeah, it's a damn good movie. I feel like if you're gonna watch any of the Friday the 13th, you need to start from here. You need to know the full origin, the full story. So yeah.
Box set quality, audio, visual, the movie itself. I'm giving this movie a 9. I absolutely love the cheesiness. I love the practical effects. I love 90% of these scenes that are in this movie. The score, I didn't even get to talk about the score that much in this movie. I like how the score is not overly used or overly produced. It's just simple, and it really picks up when the killer is getting ready to strike. So that's what I really, really enjoyed about this. And then, like I said, just the iconic visionary of Betsy Palmer being introduced as Mrs. Voorhees, and just the ending. It's just so iconic, when she gets that head chopped off, and the head is used throughout the franchise. So very, very excited to see what we're gonna do after today. And like I said, you guys can go check it out. The Scream Factory box set, $160. If you guys know anybody who is a very, really big physical media collector, they have to have this in their collection. So go check it out. Amazon, ScreamFactory.com. I think you can even check it out at Walmart and BestBuy.com. So, but if you don't want that box set, you just want Friday the 13th, check it out on Hulu Premium subscription. As you can, I think it's in the Stars bundle, and then you can get the regular DVD box set at like Walmart, Target for like $20. That comes with all 9 original films. So
Damn.
So go check it out. Yeah, I'm gonna give this movie a 9, man. I really, really enjoyed it. So go check it out. Friday the 13th, Part 1. What do you think, Ed? Are you excited after this watch? Are you excited for like Part 2?
Yeah. No, definitely am. I've seen that a few more times than the first one, so yeah, definitely am. Yeah.
Gonna be a fun rewatch. Next Thursday, Friday the 12th.
Oh,
we're gonna talk Friday the 13th Part 2. I mean, if you guys want more horror podcasts, if you guys want to hear more guys talk about horror, go check out Friday the 14th podcast as they talk all things horror. Join Manny, Franco, the bad guy, and Mr. Fuentes as they talk all things horror. They just got done releasing a VH1 or VH1. That's a good show too.
I know, right?
They just got done releasing VHS Part 1 a few weeks ago, and then they talked about The Strangers, and then their new episode, VHS Part 2, is out wherever you listen to podcasts at. So go check them out, iTunes, Spotify, Friday the 14th podcast. They're a good group of guys, and might be nice to, if one of them want to give us a phone call, we can get them in a little interview about some of these movies.
Have their thoughts, yeah.
Yeah. So I think, Ed, we counted a total of 10 kills in this movie.
Yeah, 5 males, 5 females.
And then it'll be pretty interesting to see how many throughout the whole few weeks get covered.
And I will say there was one actual death in this movie. It was a snake. That snake that they chopped up was a real snake.
I didn't count the snake.
That I'm just going like that's fucked up. They actually killed the snake.
Fuck that snake.
Wow, he
Yeah.
did nothing.
Hashtag
He did nothing.
Steve Irwin rules.
Steve Irwin wouldn't have killed that poor fucker.
Well,
He would have. He literally got fucking bit in the neck by a snake and was just like, "Get a close up of this, Mike." Yeah.
it probably was a poisonous snake. Hashtag go fuck yourself, snake.
He still wouldn't have done shit. He would have been like, "Yep, I'm gonna die by this guy. It's all right. He's a beauty. We got it." We'll see you
So
next
animals
time.
were harmed while filming this movie.
Correct. They
All right.
were. One was.
Maybe there's a new movement right there. Somebody better go check it out.
Rest in peace.
No. Ed, what are you most interested about getting ready for Suicide Squad? Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm kind of
Are you on the fence about it?
not really on the fence because I've heard a lot of good things about it so far, so I'm kind of going in a little optimistic. I kind of really wanting to see. I'm a little bit more impressed with John Cena right now because I thought he was one of the better parts of Fast 9.
True.
Well as
I heard he's going to be really good comedy relief in this movie.
I hope so, but as well as with Idris Elba, playing Bloodsport.
Is he Bloodsport? He's not. I thought you were going to say Deadshot. He's not
Yeah.
Deadshot. Okay.
That's all. Keep wanting to. It's so hard to differentiate the differences between him and Will Smith's Deadshot, because they're very similar characters but different origins, I guess. But that and then the one character I'm really interested in, two characters, King Shark, because this is I think the first time he's been put on screen.
Yeah.
And then the Mr. Polka Dot or whatever the fuck.
Oh yeah.
Because
It'll be fun.
yeah.
But if you guys want to watch Suicide Squad, go check it out in theaters and on HBO Max, and then send us some emails about your thoughts, your star ratings, and we will discuss it all Monday, August the 9th, when we talk Suicide Squad. And then don't forget next week, Thursday, August the 12th, we're talking Friday the 13th Part 2. Ed, do you have anything you want to add into Friday the 13th Part 1 before we get out of here?
Nah, just remember, folks, the original killer was not Jason Voorhees. So yeah, go ahead and go and watch one of these. Get geared up for Halloween season coming up soon. And yeah, I hope you have a nice night. But till then, this is Ed saying I'll see you on the silver screen.
Don't forget, guys, next week, Monday, we talk Suicide Squad, and then a week from today, Friday the 13th Part 2. On this bonus edition of the Cine-Men Movie Podcast.
In this hole, that is me. The dead are rolling over.